شكرا جزيلا. صباح الخير الزميل الحادي حواري، وصباح الخير لكل مستمعي بتاع آي راديو، وخاصة برنامج الدون الصباحي في العاصمة جوبا وبقية أرجاء البلاد. وكمان بنقول صباح الخير ونهاركم سعيد ومساء الخير لكل الناس اللي هم بيتابعونا على وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي فيسبوك. Good morning to all the listeners of I Radio. Good morning to you there, Al-Hadi Hawari. Me and my colleague Lo Nelson are right here, as you mentioned, in Nairobi to cover the ongoing Tumaini initiative, an effort mediated by the Kenyan government to bring about lasting peace in South Sudan. It is between the unity government and also non-signatories to the revitalized peace agreement. Majority of them are here, but some of them also are not here. Yesterday, Al-Hadi Hawari, there was a series of meetings between the mediation team and also ambassadors of some of the European countries who are friends of South Sudan. They were updated by Lazaro Simboyo, General, who is the chief mediator, and also his team. Also, the ambassadors met with delegates to the Tumaini initiative, meaning the unity government, the opposition groups, and also other SOMA and also opposition groups, plus the PCC and civil society activists, and also other stakeholders. So joining me right now in the studio today, Al-Hadi Hawari, is Major General Stephen Lukaja. He is the Secretary General of the National Salvation Front, NAS, Revolutionary Command Council. Good morning, General Stephen. It's good to have you with us here. Welcome to our radio.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
General, let's have a brief background on how NAS RCC made it to this initiative, first of all.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I think if you might have been following the events surrounding NAS, I think you would have known something about what is happening inside the National Salvation Front, and which at the end of the day led to the battle of the NAS Revolutionary Command Council. The NAS Revolutionary Command Council is actually, as it is called, it is the composition of the army officers, the NAS officers, who came up and sat on the 5th of February to make the declaration of forming the NAS Revolutionary Command Council as a reaction to the leadership, the weaknesses and the failures in the leadership of NAS led by General Thomas. And to be exact, it is actually a response to the talks, the peace process that has been lagging behind since 2018. And I think you might have been following the behavior of General Thomas as the leader of National Salvation Front since 2019. Let me say 2018 actually, from the Khartoum Peace Agreement down to the coming up or the formation of reconstitution of these talks again in Rome, the Rome Initiative in 2020. So all efforts was actually meant to deliver sustainable peace. The call was NAS demanded that the problems, the root causes of the problem are addressed in a peaceful manner, where the leaders have to sit and discuss and negotiate with the government to restore lasting peace. That one was the core objective. And this is what happened when the talks resumed in Rome. And until everything just lagged behind up to 2024. So from 2020 to 2024 to 2023, there has been a lot of challenges within the National Salvation Front, and these challenges are majorly internal. internal, administrative, and structural in nature, especially on the ground, because once a revolutionary movement is comprising of the army, in most cases, most effort has to be taken to see that the military on the ground is really organized in the way that it adapts to the principles of the movement, and also acquire the necessary training and organization so that they are able to effectively run or manage its own affairs. But this thing has been lagging behind.
Right.
Yes.
Now let's focus on the ongoing peace process here, the high-level mediation for South Sudan. General Stephen, it's now more than a month down the line, and it looks like there's no any physical or tangible results so far, and you've been discussing almost on daily basis here in the Tumaini process. So what's really happening? Because people are wondering back home there, what are they really doing in Nairobi?
Thank you. I think you are with us here all this time, and it's good enough you have been following the daily activities behind the process. I think, yes, it is now 1 month since the declaration or the launching of the talks on the 9th May in the State House. And as you had been following, significant progress has been taking place, including first the signing of the commitment and agreement. And after, of course, signing that commitment agreement, it was preceded, followed by several engagement between the opposition and the government. And of course, peace process, and to be exact, our case here, as we made it clear, it is not something that we only wanted to be done in 1 week or 2 days, 1 week's time, since it is investigating the root of the problem in the country. So we have to diagnose and really look into it, that issues that keep this country apart are critically discussed and addressed. And that is why you may remember the process is centered on the 4 main agenda of the politics and governance, and the security arrangement, and then the economy and the transitional justice. All these processes, or all these themes, are actually what are there in the revitalized agreement, if you may remember. But now, since from day one, the government in their first submission was that actually the talks should be centered on all those topics which were part of the Artigono. And we said, yes, there's no problem, but we have to now critically look into, since the Artigon is now already gone six years, if I'm not mistaken. But all these things which were there, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is less than 50% of all those things were implemented. So meaning we cannot necessarily just enter into it and discuss, since they are there, that for the sake of its own discussion, but we have to get to the root to actually discuss these themes in details and come up with practical workable solutions that can deliver peace in the country. Why this thing has not been implemented, and as we are going to discuss about them topic by topic, we get to the root to see where the areas of inconvenience that lead to lack of this implementation are. Then we shall negotiate and come up with a clear roadmap, a clear way forward, so that whatever outcome from these talks has to actually really be implementable. Should be implemented to deliver the peace that the people of South Sudan need. That is why you see all this for the last 1 month. After signing the commitment declaration of commitment, we couldn't up to now sign any protocol on this 4 because we are still engaging in deep discussion.
What is delaying it really? What is the secret behind the delay really, General?
I think there is nothing actually as a secret in it.
Is there disagreement or anything because it's taking long?
We are not having any much disagreement. The matter is now, of course, if you can remember, after all the presentation were given to the mediation, the secretariat, they come up with the 72 page document. And that one was actually the basis of where now the agreement text lies.
Now, have you responded to the document? Because you were given like 2 or 3 days to now have your observation or respond to the document of the mediation.
Observation has already been done, and of course the mediators are engaging because now it is not now an open plenary as it was during the time for the presentations. Of course, the mediation is engaging with the leadership of the opposition.
It's just like consultation.
Actually, because majorly the whole work, our position as all the opposition combined, is already being compiled in that report, and also government position is also there.
What is your position as the opposition? Your position as the opposition in the document?
I think
you mentioned some of them.
It is not something that is just a single position, as you might have read the document. But it is actually the way forward. And like yesterday, when you see from the conference, the press conference, we actually look first and foremost to see that these talks has to lead to a constitutional conference where the people of South Sudan can come freely to discuss and agree on how they can take this country forward based on a new constitutional arrangement. Because the summary of all the presentations says, you might have heard from the report and then the rest, the mediation, they came with a summary that the whole problem of South Sudan lies in the lack of the clear constitutional arrangements that can enhance the democratic governance of the country. So whatever discussion the opposition and the government will be really pursuing here will be centered majorly on that account, to see that we have a democratic constitution that can incorporate all the aspirations of the people of South Sudan, and if anything, to give them the power to make a decision and participate in the affairs of their country.
And General Stephen, what about the arrangements of the government? And because yesterday during the press conference, there was a talk about elections will not be held because the prerequisites are not met. But also the suggestion of the opposition is to look for another transitional period so that you can prepare for the national conference, and also the elections then can be held. Can you dwell more on that?
Emmanuel, honestly speaking, you have been a keen follower of the events in South Sudan, and I have to honestly tell you that the period between now and December, where election is supposed to be conducted, honestly, is really inappropriate. If anything, even if these talks had not resumed or started, I think there was going to be a likely scenario where the government may plan to actually just increase their time in power unilaterally as they used to do.
Like
so
extension again?
They would extend automatically. Those talks of election are just, I can say, those are just political statements, and then just a game as usual. But the truth here, as you said, we in these talks has the view that whatever outcome we shall agree here, of course, the time frame to implement it demands a neutral implementation mechanism.
But isn't that also another extension of the current government?
It may now depend on the agreement that the opposition and the government, and the mediators. Of course, we and the government has to now agree. If we actually agree to an agreement here in Nairobi, then automatically that has to come up, because whatever outcome of the agreement here has to be implemented. But it will now depend on the nature of how that implementation authority or body has to be constituted. If it means extending the government with in a new way, in a new image, what is that? Reconstituting it. This will be based on what the parties may agree.
So that you want to reconstituting it, having a new government, it means like bringing the current opposition to Juba also to be part of the government. That's what you're talking about. You want to be part of the government position, looking for positions, for instance.
It will not be actually position as you. Of course, this is what many people and South Sudanese are now having, that the obsession of always anything, any agreement meant incorporating or coming up with a position, power sharing modality. But honestly, there is no any political arrangement that will go in vacuum without administration. And that administration, and that is why they say politics and administration are always concurrently entities. Politics cannot be when there is no administration. And any administration actually is politics in the outlook. So in the other way around, I can say, of course, there will be a possibility of having that united administration between the opposition and the current government, but it depends on when the two parties may agree, depending on the nature of that administration.
We already have a bulky kind of bloated government, so again you are going to add more.
And this is what we are even saying in opposition. We are, of course, we are actually against that, because when you see that government from its inception, from the day it was established, we already knew that nothing is actually going to happen, because where on earth can you have such a bloated government and you expect government agencies to finance, to get resources to finance? Because it is really, it can't be, Emmanuel, that you have that government in an economy that is really struggling to work, and you expect such a bloated government can implement agencies, government agencies or reforms that people expect. So the same way in this agreement, it is the same observation, what you have seen. Yes, people may think anything to reach a consensus and an agreement that should be implemented on a joint administration of the opposition and the current government would mean expanding, or of course maybe expanding the current government. But to us as opposition, we hold the view that actually this government, if anything, the future administration or the future interim arrangement that may take care of any outcome of this agreement has to be on a new basis.
So you're looking for lean kind of government.
I cannot tell you exactly. Yeah, that option of lean government, of course, is what we look forward to. But this one will now be subject to the agreement by the two parties. Of course, the two parties has the government and the opposition has to sit and they will be there to agree.
So that's the position of the opposition for the country to go for a lean government out of the Tumaini initiative. That's what you're hoping.
Actually, I personally hope that could be the way forward, and that lean government, of course, should be the task is to implement the outcome of what the Tumaini agreement will come out with, because it will serve no purpose to even have that arrangement if there will be no credible and proper outcome from these talks, and which to us is actually the arrangement, the constitutional making arrangement as our first priority is followed by the rest of the thing, including some of the things which were not implemented, of course, in the last reactors, and we see where we can agree on all those areas which were not implemented. And then the first thing here is we have to see that the problem of South Sudan is addressed on the perspective of delivering a new constitution as a basis of the rescue of the country from its current status now.
Right. ده كده بيجيبنا لحوالي 20 minutes now to the hour of 9 from our mini studio here in Nairobi. الزميل الحادي حواري، وطبعا 20 دقيقة للساعة 8 في العاصمة جوبا أو في جنوب السودان. الحادي حواري نرجع لك الميكروفون. And let's pick a few calls before General Stephen Lukaja. He is the Secretary General of NAS Revolutionary Command Council, one of the delegates to the Tumaini initiative here in Nairobi. زميل الحادي لك الميكروفون عشان نقدر نرفع بعض من المكالمات. نعم زميل الهادي هواري أسئلة كتير لكن الزمن ده ما بيكون لصالحنا. We have about 5 minutes only. General Stephen, you can respond comprehensively to the questions before you can wind up.
I think not that you can give me ask.
Yes, Franco Sabit is talking about the guarantees about the implementation of this process. We also have Godfrey talking about a return of refugees and the issue of insecurity and the importance of having one army. David Magog talking about there's already a revitalized peace agreement, and people are talking about this security arrangements, governance, and leadership in the revitalized peace agreement. What difference will this one make? James Dore also talked about army being involved or generals being involved in politics. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think for the interest of time, I will be very brief. Yes, all the concerns and really the challenges the people of South Sudan are going through, what some of the motivations that led the opposition to accept for this negotiation. Of course, we know the challenges in the country, but I would like to say this Nairobi process should not be looked at as the initiative between the government and the opposition. I really urge the people of South Sudan to own it as an opportunity to find lasting peace for the country.
How can they own it as the people?
That is why we call, we expect our expectation from here. We said there should be an adaptation of a new social contract. And then we also expect the coming up with this negotiation will come up with a new constitution that will address all these issues, issues of army, for instance, the question related to generals taking part in politics. I think when we reach an agreement in the constitutional text, I think that one will be defined in the events that it is clearly defined in the constitution. Of course, I may go home and I had choose between the two. Either if I want to be in politics, by law I have to retire officially from the army. And if I wanted to continue in the army, then I must go by what the constitution say. So all this can be defined in the constitutional making process. So all this, most of this. And about the refugees, of course, we know the challenges. I'm one of those who have observed the challenges of how our people are suffering in the neighboring countries. And this is why we said we have to sit down as South Sudanese. And this, what makes this process here unique is we need not to take it on the perspective of actually power arrangement between the holdouts or the opposition and the government. But in our submission from the beginning day when we said this is a rescue plan, this Nairobi initiative should be a rescue mission for the country to get out of all the crises, whether security, economics crisis, and all the crises related to the governance, which are attributed to all these challenges. It should be defined in this in this process. Then people come up with an agreed way forward to take this country. That is actually briefly, so that the people of South Sudan should not look at this as just a game changer between the opposition and the government. Yeah.
Thank you very much, General Stephen Lukaja, for joining us on The Dawn today. He is the SG of NAS RCC. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. الهادي هوار ده كل ما عندنا الليلة. نرجع لك الميكروفون لأنه زمن بتاع الأخبار. أنا وزميل بتاعي لو نيلسون من العاصمة الكينية نيروبي. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you.